Ask how. Howard, the humongous. We have a small problem in the Ukraine. It looks like Vladimir Putin is moving into the Crimea. The Ukraine has basically tossed out its old leader and is putting together a new government. The old leader that it tossed out is an ally of Vladimir Putin's. The new government seems to be in favor of allying with the European Union and possibly even cozying up to the United States. When it looked as if Vladimir Putin might move troops into the Crimea, might try to pull off a military coup of some kind to take not just the Crimea but other parts of the Ukraine, our president, Barack Obama, the man for whom I voted twice, said, keep your hands off the Ukraine. You are breaking international laws. Well, I have news for Barack Obama and the other people in our current administration, including any who are dumb enough to go along with this in the Republican Party. Are you crazy? Don't you know anything about the history of the Ukraine? Once upon a time, there were vast Slavic territories, unruled by any major power, and the Vikings started sending their astonishing warboats down the rivers that converge in the Ukraine and in the Crimea. They were able to do a hefty business with the people of Byzantium, the people of Constantinople. The people of Constantinople, the people of Byzantium, were rich. They were the heirs to the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire had moved its headquarters in approximately 500 AD, well, beginning around 322 AD, from Rome to Byzantium. Byzantium was the new Rome, and Byzantium had lots and lots of money. What did the folks in Byzantium want to buy that the Vikings might be able to supply with their incredible warships, these ships that had a 3-foot draft that could go down a creek and pounce on a town in the middle of the night, kill off the men? The Vikings got slaves, took them down the rivers to Byzantium, Constantinople, and sold them for a fortune. It was a great way to make a living if you didn't care about the misery of women, children, teenagers, and of course the men you sliced up in order to get your hands on their women and children. The Vikings eventually realized that they could do a better job of harvesting all of these slaves if they built towns on the banks of the rivers, permanent quarters for their troops, instead of having to travel hundreds and hundreds of miles down the rivers to get the raw material of the slave trade. So they built a couple of wooden towns. Wood was the stuff the Vikings liked to use for building purposes. The first really major town that they built was in a city called Kyiv. Have you heard recently the name of Kyiv? Of course you have, because all of the events in the Ukraine, all of the events in which the Ukrainians were declaring their independence and getting rid of a tyrant who was taking all of their money and putting it into pleasure palaces for himself, all of these events have taken place in Kyiv. Kyiv was the first place where the Russian princes, let's change that, where the Vikings developed a town and where the most powerful warlord in the bunch declared himself a prince. A prince of what? Well, the Vikings, according to some stories, named the new territories they were developing after their yellow and red hair. So they called themselves the Rus. And what did they call the native peoples, the indigenous peoples in the area? The people they were doing all of their slaving among, people whose children and teenage daughters they were stealing to sell down in Byzantium. Well, they called them Slavs. Why did they call them Slavs? Because they were the raw material for the slave trade. That was approximately 900 AD, a little bit later. In other words, Russia was founded in the Ukraine. Russia was founded in the city of Kyiv that has just declared that it wants to ally itself with the European Union. Now, this is a little bit akin to Texas declaring that it wants to be free of the United States of America and it wants to be a part of Mexico. What? Texas declaring itself to be a part of Mexico? Isn't that crazy? No. In 1848, the United States had a massive war, a totally unjust war, with Mexico, and it defeated the Mexicans. What did it get for its efforts? The United States got Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, and California. All of that, as recently as 1848, was Mexican territory. The folks in Texas are often very irked by the government of the rest of the United States of America, and they are willing to point out to you that they have their own history. You and I have George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and the other founding fathers of the United States, but those are not the founding fathers of Texas. The founding father of Texas is Sam Houston. Texas has its own history. Why? Because Texas was once an independent republic, and in its papers with the United States agreeing to be a state in the United States, some Texans tell me there is a clause somewhere that says if Texas ever wants, it can secede from the Union. Now, if Texas decided to secede from the Union and become a part of Mexico, what would we do? Would we consider that to be our territory? Would we stop that move? Well, that's how Vladimir Putin, tyrant, thug, and kleptocrat, a man who steals the money of his country, who steals the money of the oil industry, makes himself fabulously wealthy. There are lots of reasons to be very unhappy with Vladimir Putin, and very few reasons to like him. But Vladimir Putin feels that the Ukraine is not European Union territory. He feels that it is not American territory. He feels that it's Russian territory. Let's throw in one more historical fact. The capital of Russia is Moscow, right? Well, Moscow did not become a significant city until approximately 1500. It was the second city of the Rus, and it came along to power roughly 600 years after Kyiv established itself as the first Russian capital. Kyiv, the capital city of the Ukraine, was the capital city of Russia. So how would we feel if we were Vladimir Putin and the Ukraine was about to slice itself off from the rest of Russia and go with the European Union and make friends with the Americans? We'd be rather unhappy. And if we happen to have a massive military base in Texas that housed our entire most of our Navy, we'd be even more unhappy. And Putin has his entire Black Sea Navy headquartered at Sevastopol in Crimea. So please, President Barack Obama, John Kerry, and all of the members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, before you make blustering maneuvers, before you threaten and fume about what the Ukraine is doing and how Vladimir Putin is responding to it, read your history. This is Howard the Humongous speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make, now to try to find the off button. Wait, what's that? Help! There's something in the way of the off button. There. Okay, look. If I have any luck whatsoever, I've found it.